Welcome back to the Hire Me podcast. And today I have with me Kristan LeBaron. She is an ad industry veteran. Let's jump in to learn how Kristan could be your next great hire and professional connection. Kristan, welcome. Thank you for coming on and tell us about yourself.
Thank you for having me, Chris. It's nice to meet you. As you mentioned, I am an advertising industry veteran of 30 years. I usually say 20 plus because I don't want people to envision me with like a granny haircut. But the majority of my experience has been in media planning and buying and copywriting. So generally I fill in for I partner with agencies who are kind of a man down, woman down, and need someone to fill in, somebody with lots of expertise to fill in.
Awesome. Good to know. So what type of role are you looking for?
I really am looking for media planning and buying or copywriting. I'm equally, versed and experienced in both. Where I kind of differentiate or where I am a little different than a lot of other media planners and buyers right now is I do have so many years of experience that I have a lot of that traditional expertise in the media and planning and buying realm. And I think what makes me a little more appealing in a lot of situations is that the areas that I love tend to be the areas that a lot of media buyers don't love. They hate planning and buying print, like newspaper and magazine, and outdoor, and those are like catnip for me. I cannot get enough. I just love doing those two pieces. But I can do it all. I can do the radio and TV and the digital pieces, but I just really get salivate a little bit over newspaper stuff. It's a little nerdy.
And that's totally okay. We all have our strengths. We all have the things that we love doing, and what we love and what we're good at. Those are always areas that someone else doesn't like, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's always a need for our strengths and our capabilities for sure. So, you just shared a little bit about loving that kind of traditional ad buying. I mean, what is it about the ad industry and the work that you do that you really love?
And this piece in particular, the media planning and buying in particular, is putting the puzzle together. So it's taking an advertiser's budget and researching their target audience and figuring out where they are and what their habits are and what they're doing, and then building the puzzle of how are we going to most efficiently reach those people? What platforms are we going to use?
I love that puzzle piecing element of
Yep.
of people's work, and I had never really thought of it that way, and that's so true because there's so many different markets and different audience types and personas that we don't really think about because we are those personas and we don't usually
Right.
think like about other people in that way. So that's fantastic. So in all of the different roles that you've worked in and the different leadership people that you've worked for, the different cultures that you've been in, what have you found that really help you thrive? What are those leaders and cultures that you really find yourself doing your best work?
I really, really work best in a collaborative environment. My most successful work experiences have been in situations where my superior has worked with me in a collaborative way, to where I don't feel like they're here and I'm here. It feels very much like, hey, let's talk these out, and then they really give me the autonomy, because I do have a great number of years of experience. So I do have the autonomy to run with a project, and I can ask them questions when I have questions. So I think collaborative is the best way to word it.
Fantastic, because again, you have that expertise and they have, the problems that they are hoping you will solve. And on that, when you're having conversations as you're job hunting for your next role or your next project, w- they're going to ask, like, what problem can you solve for us? So how would you answer that?
The best thing I can say is I can hit the ground running. I can come right in. I know all these platforms that agencies use, Strata, Media Force. I know Claritas, which is all, audience research and segmentation. I know I have experience in how to do all that, and I have experience in buying the different media platforms. So they don't have to spend a bunch of time training me up. They can give me kind of a download about their particular client, or if they are the client, if it is a business and not an agency, they can give me the download of all of their objectives, and then they know that they can just kind of cut me loose to do the work.
Awesome. Take it and run it. Love
Yep.
it. So ultimately, at the end of the day, what matters to you?
uh Connection is the most important value in my life, in work life, family life. Everything is all about creating connection. And when I'm talking about my work life, I'm talking about my coworkers. In a remote environment, it can be really hard for some people to feel connected in a remote environment, but it's something I've done for a really long time. I kind of accidentally became a freelancer in 2007 and have been running my own business on the side most of those years, uh, remotely. And it's just something that I'm a natural at. And like I said, not just with my coworkers and my peers, but also as an advertising professional, building that connection, not with just my client, but helping my clients create connection with their audiences.
That connection piece is something that resonates with me so much because it's the human connection that we have. It's the connection that we have with the mission of the organizations that we're at or the values of the organization we're at, the connections of our clients, our customers, in this case, whoever's buying, right? Whoever those audience
Yep.
members are, it's so important. So
Yes.
yeah, Kristen, thank you again so much for coming on the Hire Me podcast. It was great to learn more about your experience, the skills that you bring, and what you ultimately value, and how you'll bring that value into your next role. If
Thank
you
you
are
so much.
of course, if you're watching or listening, make sure you're connecting with Kristen through the links in the description and the show notes. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and like all of our content here on the Hire Me podcast so we can continue elevating more of today's top talents. Take care.